To further show how they're weaponizing the DOJ, we're going to go into this Rudy Giuliani. Oh, did we not? We did not click over yet. There we go. Boom. Feds raid Rudy Giuliani's home, escalating criminal probe. All right. 5-minute breakdown to track a new president. What? I don't care about your fucking tracking of the new president. Whatever. New York. Federal agents raided Rudy Giuliani's Manhattan home and office Wednesday, seizing computers, cell phones, and major escalation of the Justice Department and investigations into the business dealings of former Donald Trump's personal lawyer. They are coming after anyone who has ever worked, or they're coming after all of us. Trump, they're coming after all of us. Giuliani, the 76-year-old former New York mayor, once celebrated for his leadership after 9/11, has been under federal scrutiny for several years over his ties in Ukraine. The dual search sent the strongest signal yet that he could eventually face federal charges. Agents searched Giuliani's Madison Avenue apartment and Park Avenue office. People familiar with the investigation told the Associated Press the warrants, which required approval from top-level Justice Department, signed. The prosecutors believe they have probable cause that Giuliani committed a federal crime. They do not guarantee the charges will be materialized. He committed a federal crime, like persecuting your political rivals. You know who else politicized the Department of Justice? Hitler. The second, like, people said that it was going to get better. You voted for Joe Biden, and it's not getting better. It's getting fucking worse. A third search warrant was served on a phone belonging to Washington lawyer Victoria Townsend, a former federal prosecutor and close ally of Giuliani and Trump. Her law firm issued a statement saying she was informed that she is not a target of the investigation. The full scope of the investigation is unclear. It is at least partly involved Giuliani's dealings in Ukraine, law enforcement officials have told AP. So you're arresting him about Ukraine because you did some bullshit in Ukraine, Biden. The president did some bullshit in Ukraine, too. Fucking politicized Department of Justice. This shit's fucking garbage. The people discussed and searched in Wednesday developments could not do so publicly and spoke to the AP on conditions of anonymity. News of the search was first reported to the New York Times. In a statement issued through his lawyer, Giuliani accused federal authorities of a corrupt double standard, invoking allegations he pushed against prominent Democrats, and said that the Justice Department was running roughshod over the constitutional rights of anyone involved or legally defending former. I mean, it's that's true. Mr. Giuliani respects the law, and he can be demonstrated that his conduct as a lawyer and a citizen was absolutely legal and ethical, the statement aid. Burkick, who served as New York Police Commissioner during the September 11th attacks and his long-term Giuliani friend, said the former mayor called him as agents were searching his home on Wednesday morning. Carrick, who had been pardoned by Trump for felony convictions that put him behind bars for 3 years, declined to describe the friend's mood or reactions, but expressed alarm at the raid, saying agents shouldn't have been there in the first place. How can these people say they're working against them like this crap when they're fucking propagating this crap? I think it's extremely concerning, he said. Giuliani's son, Andrew Giuliani, told reporters that raids were disgusting and absolutely absurd. I mean, they are. A Justice Department spokesperson did not immediately respond to a request. If you had this and this was going on, you shouldn't have sat on it. You should have just... No, it's because this is fucking political retribution. A Justice Department spokesperson did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan and the FBI's New York office declined to be comment. I mean, there was a time where if this happened, I would have said they had a real damn good reason, but I can't anymore. The federal probe in Giuliani's declared Ukraine dealings stalled last year because of the dispute over investigation tactics as Trump unsuccessfully sought a second term. Giuliani subsequently took a leading role in disputing the election results on the Republicans' behalf. Wednesday's raids came months after Trump left office and lost his ability to pardon allies for federal crimes. The former president himself no longer enjoys the legal protections the Oval Office once provided him, though there is no indication Trump is eyed in this probe. I mean, it is. It's all about their orange man bad vendetta, thinking we're all domestic terrorists, even though they're ones burning down half the country. Don't get me wrong, I understand this police garbage going on and shit like that, but don't become what you hate. Trump's spokesperson did not immediately respond to questions about Wednesday's events. Many people in Trump's orbit have been ensnared in previous federal investigations, including special counsel Robert Mueller's probe of Russian election interference. Some, like former General Flynn, Roger Stone, and Paul Manafort, were pardoned. While there were discussions about preemptive pardon for Giuliani, it did not materialize. Trump, his aides, and many prominent backers were silent on the action Wednesday, with no widespread denunciations or witch hunt claims. Trump, who remained barred from the Twitter, issued a statement on the Arizona election recount, but steered clear of defending his long-term lawyer, whose loyalty he had long professed to admire. Giuliani was central to the president's effort to take up dirt against the Democrat rival Joe Biden and to press Ukraine for an investigation into Biden and his son Hunter, which should still go on, who himself now faces a criminal tax probe by the Department of Justice. It's double standard. They're both accused of the same thing, but only one's being investigated. That is totalitarian fascist garbage. Giuliani also sought to undermine former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, Mary Yovovich, who was pushed out Trump's orders and met several times with the Ukrainian lawmaker, who released edited recordings of Biden in an effort to smear him before the election. The double standard here, it's palpable, and it's hard to ignore anymore. Like, this is the last state. Like, that would be the Nazi enforcement force is going to come for you. That's what they are. The NEF, the Nazi enforcement force. I'm going to make a NEF T-shirt. It said the warrant an allegation that Giuliani failed to register as a foreign agent, and that investigative document mentioned John Solomon, a former columnist and frequent Fox News commentator with close ties to Giuliani, who pushes baseless or uncensored allegations involving Ukraine and Biden. They're not baseless and unsubstantiation Washington Post, but it's the other Washington Post, so I can't blame you for framing it the way you are, since you're infiltrated by far left Antifa's garbage. Phone records published by House Democrats in 2019 in the wake of Trump's first impeachment trial show frequent contacts involving Giuliani, Solomon, and Lev Parnas. So Giuliani associated on an indictment on charges of using foreign money to make illegal campaign contributions. Contacted Wednesday, Solomon said it was news to him that the Justice Department was interested in any communications he had with Giuliani, though he said it was not entirely surprising given the issues raised in the impeachment trial. He was someone that tried to pass information to me. I didn't use most of it. Solomon said of Giuliani, if they want to look at that, there's not going to be anything surprising in it. So, I mean, he seems like he doesn't want anything to hide. He seems like he's not really worried about this. So, I mean, if he's not guilty and he's acting like he's not worried about this, like the justice system's going to exonerate him, he's a fucking moron, because they're the Nazi enforcement force. I'm just fucking saying. And they're going to come to a house near you. All right, moving on into the final segment of this podcast, we're going to go over our rights. So we all clear, these are what our basic rights are, and I'm going to give you an explanation on how to defend them, because some of y'all need to know. All right, so the Bill of Rights, and what does it say? This is the First Amendment of the Constitution, we the people and all that, right? First Amendment. This is your First Amendment right. The First Amendment provides several rights to protections to expression of ideas through speech in the press, to assemble or gather with the group to protest or for other reasons, and to ask the government to fix problems. It also protects the right to religious beliefs and practices. It prevents the government from creating a favor or favoring a religion, right? So this is the First Amendment, and this segment might go a little bit longer. I'm sorry, but this is the First Amendment, your freedom of speech. What do you do when you don't use, they try to take away your freedom of speech? You don't shut the fuck up. You speak anyway. You protest. You do it. You just do it. You speak. You express yourself. You fight. You accept it. You fight the consequences. You refuse to give up, right? You just got to protest. You got to speak. You just always speak your mind until they start coming at you. Like, people will help you. They'll help you with lawyers. You can take it all the way. They're not. You're gonna win that fight, but nobody makes that fight. But you would win that fight. You just gotta fight the fight, but nobody's willing to fight the fight, right? And it's gonna go deeper than that, right? So let's get back into the Second Amendment, because everybody's simple. This protest, you just like they want to take your right to religious beliefs away. Practice your religion anyway. They want to take your right to assemble or gather away. Assemble or gather anyway. If they want to take your right to the press away, release press briefs anyway. Right? That's how you defend against that. That's how you utilize that right. You defend against it by utilizing it. All right. So the Second Amendment protects the right to keep and bear arms. Right. That gives you the right to keep and bear arms, even though they're kind of trying to fight this piece. How do you fight when they come for your right to bear arms? You utilize them. If they try to take your arms, you defend your right. You have a right. That's how you do it. This one is it protects your Third Amendment right protects your right for it's the no quartering. It's the quartering clause. You can't quarter soldiers. So if they try to like quarter soldiers in your home, how you defend against that? You kick them out. Your Fourth Amendment rights. Boom, bans the government from unreasonable search and seizures without a warrant. How do you do that? How do you defend against that? By using this. By not, if they kicking, or, well, by using this, you got to go down the list. You always go down the list. So, like, if you verbalize your rights, you don't have a warrant, you don't have the right, get off my property. But if they don't get off your property, they're trespassing. And by law, you can use this to defend against trespassing. But you only have the rights that you're willing to defend yourself as. So like that you're willing to defend. Now, by no means am I telling anybody to just go out and like shoot people because there is a fucking process. But nobody like Fifth Amendment. You have the right to like not incriminate yourself. So if they try to make you speak, the way you defend against that is just by simply not fucking speaking. It just keeps going on and on and on. The Sixth Amendment provides an additional protection to people caused for crimes such as the right to speedy public trial and jury in criminal cases. The way you fight this is by ignoring the justice system, escaping, like going on the run, becoming an outlaw. Seventh Amendment extends the right to a jury in federal cases. If they don't give you a right to a jury, I mean, it's saying that the justice system's already collapsed, like back here, and none of this fucking the government's garbage and it's lost all of its credibility and people shouldn't listen to it because they get the consent to govern from the governed. Eighth Amendment bars excessive bails of fines, unusual punishments. The same deal. I mean, it's pretty simple on this point. Ninth Amendment states that the specific rights of the Constitution does not mean that people have other rights that have not been spelled out. That's pretty simple. You just defend your other rights, whatever they may be, whatever you decided your specific community has decided your rights are. 10th Amendment says the federal government has those powers dedicated to the Constitution, listed to the states of the people. That just gives the states the ability to govern everything that the federal everything that's not written in the Constitution that the federal government does is a violation of our 10th Amendment rights because that power belongs to the states or to the people. I mean, it's that fucking simple. And there's other rights that you might. So, women's right to vote, Black African Americans' right to vote. You know how you defend those? By fucking voting anyway, showing up and voting. Going back, the only time, like it seems like everybody gets together and they're like, "Oh, I don't like this garbage. It's fucking fucked up. We got to do something about it." But then the police, like even police that say that, but they'll go in and they'll be like, "Oh, you go arrest this dude for this stupid reason." Oh, yes, sir. I'll lick that boot and go get him. But that's my job. But none of this garbage is going to stop until we stand up and stop it. There are 400 million guns in this country, 200 million gun owners. That outnumbers all of the alphabet boys, the military, and everybody combined. The government can't do anything that we don't want them to if we stand up and say no. But we have to be willing to fight the consequences for that. If you're not willing to give everything for your rights, do you really deserve those rights? I don't know. Maybe we should go to a citizenship for service type model where you don't have any rights unless you're serving some. You just have basic protections. So you can't be like murdered or raped and you can still live if you choose not to serve. But you don't get to vote or anything like that because you don't respect them. You don't understand them. You keep trying to manipulate them. You're being fascist and trying to take them away. Everybody's a fucking hypocrite on both the left and the right. You'd be like, "Oh, I don't like that. You're doing it to me," and then you turn around and fucking do it anyway. This is not going to stop until we fucking stand up and actually stop it. if a community stood up, if 200 million gun owners stood up and was like, I don't fucking think so, I doubt there would be a war.